thank you all for being with us for this session that is organized at the occasion of International Coaching Week, the annual celebration of coaching and its impact in the world. Magda, thank you so much for being with us today. So it's time for me to officially present you. And ladies and gentlemen, Magdalena Nowicka Mook is the CEO and Executive Director of the International Coaching Federation, where she acts as a partner to the ICF Global Board of Directors. She brings experience in fundraising, coaching, and consulting, as well as association management. She's a trained professional coach and system facilitator. Magda, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Isabel, and welcome everybody. What a pleasure and an honor to be here with you on that first day of the International Coaching Week. It is a celebration, and yes, we are meeting virtually today. I know that many chapters and many groups are also offering in-person meetings. Hopefully you will have an opportunity to meet with some of our colleagues and friends in person, in addition to, as Isabel said, multiple beautiful programs being offered virtually. And it's so fun to see where you guys are coming from. I saw San Agustin, but also Casablanca and some other places. So thank you for being here. And yes, today I wanted to talk to you briefly about the value of Pakistan. Awesome. Thank you, Luxembourg. Oof. We are a global community, and that's the reason that I wanted to talk to you today about the value of coaching in organizations. And it is because we are talking about the impact of coaching. We are talking about how to accelerate and amplify the benefit of coaching in a society. And frankly, coaching in organizations is one of the amazing ways to do it. It is because coaching is being offered in strong organizations with strong coaching cultures, is offered throughout the enterprise, and it is because more and more people are exposed to it. So I am going to share some slides with you, so bear with me for just a second as I pull it up. Yeah, and share. There we go. I'm gonna minimize my screen here. So we're not there yet, are we? Now we are. All right. So why coaching in organizations? It is not a secret that when coaching first started, many of you know, ICF started in 1995. In some areas of the world, coaching was known even before, in some not. So it is still in some areas of the world a fairly new opportunity or new offering that needs some explanation. And today, what we wanted to talk about was basically a little bit about ICF. I presume many of you know a lot about ICF, but it's always nice, especially when we are talking about the International Coaching Week, about how big we are and how impactful we are as an organization. And speaking of impact of coaching cultures, and what does it take to build coaching cultures? Some of you may be internal coaches, some of you may be coaches working in organizations, some of you may be coaches who are willing to work in organizations and have influence into those decision makers. So I hope it's the presentation just for you. So in case you didn't know, we are the largest global member network for professional coaches. Over 56 at this point, professional coaches in 160 countries, more than 45,000 credential holders. More than 140 now. I just welcome Armenia, I think. Yeah, Armenia today. So more than 140 chapters around the world. And this is not something that maybe everybody remembers. And it is that all members of ICF have to be trained. as professional coaches before they even join the organizations. And all members and the credential holders are abiding by the ICF Code of Ethics. So speaking of coaching culture, ICF engaged in a set of research with the Human Capital Institute to look into what does it mean, what does it take to have coaching culture within the organization. So we work with the Human Capital Institute. This organization is a membership organization for organizations. So we started looking into, okay, how many organizations do even recognize coaching as a methodology for their success? And what does it mean to have a strong coaching culture? So it was very important, and this particular studies, because we did several of them, are available on our website, coachingfederation.org. And what we found out is that those organizations that claim strong coaching cultures are twice as likely to be high-performing organizations. You know, some of the studies were done before the pandemic, but high-performing, high-producing, high effectiveness, high engagement, we hear it all, right? So this is something very important that the decision makers need to know. Coaching is not nice to have. Coaching is a business proposition, right? So what we know from the studies is that when the organizations have, coaching cultures, then there is such a significant difference in accomplishments about customer satisfaction, about stakeholder value, about employer of choice. Nowadays, especially in the United States, we all hear about the great resignation or great reshuffle, right? So look about it, 74% versus 49%. Organizations with strong coaching cultures were more attractive to recruit, retain, and maintain individual workforce. Productivity is higher, profitability is higher, and what we learned in our very first survey was that the engagement of the employees was significantly larger, and that indeed translates into greater financial results for the organizations as compared with organizations of a similar size and similar and a similar field, if you will. So, you know, if we think, so what do we see that the organizations with strong coaching cultures, again, are really gaining? So this is a competitive advantage, right? That we can talk about it. It is the investment in employee development. It is percentage of hires and promotions within rather than outside. And as we said, the engagement of employees, probably one of the most important factor other than the high performance being retained. We asked about how important is it that the coaches that work within the organizations have specific skills in some of the areas which those of us being coaches on the call would recognize as some of the core coaching competencies. And that trust element, this is still being something extremely important. And also ethics, which frankly, I'm just delighted to see, because our code of ethics, reviewed every 3 years, is really a reflection of what is happening in a real time in a marketplace. So it is a guideline equally for the coaches as for the coaching clients, right? What to expect, what to be prepared for, and what to look for in a coaching relationship. So these are the important skills of the coaches, which is important because we will talk about it a little bit later. Organizations with strong coaching cultures typically use internal coaches, external coaches, and also invest. And we just saw the slide about investment in professional development. They do invest in managers and leaders getting coaching skills, so they can add to their tool of managerial skills that approach that's being open, that approach that's being more inclusive and more curious, if you will, as they are seeking for the solutions that are important for the entire enterprise. This particular slide, frankly, blew my mind when I first saw it, because we did one of our studies with Human Capital Institute about the connection between coaching and change management. What we know from multiple studies, not necessarily our own, is that change management initiatives, first and foremost, most organizations, 80+% of organizations are in some kind of a change management initiative. What we also know is that majority of them fail. And there are three elements that make change management initiatives successful or not. One is leadership, one is communication, and one is resilience or resistance. So look at this. We ask this question about what is really working in support of change management. You see on the left-hand side, the column for coaching. Coaching has been identified as one of the most successful support for change management initiative. Conversely, the second column, formal learning, that's what's most offered still nowadays in organizations. And you can see that out of the four modalities, coaching, formal learning, peer learning, and on-job learning, formal learning is the least effective. And yet, this is the one being offered the most. So as you can see, coaching is truly something that is supporting change management initiatives a lot. Some of you, again, ICF members, you may know that ICF is working in a close partnership with the Association of Change Management Professionals. We are looking into how change management practices can support coaches and how coaches and coaching can support change management initiatives. It is a very fruitful conversation. We have several task forces going on, and I think that that's a great learning for both of our professions of how we can support and really leverage each other. But again, coaching significantly supporting change management initiatives. As we did all this training and all these surveys, we're looking into what is the evidence that coaching in organizations actually works. And this is based on the responses from the surveys done in multiple organizations, over 500 of them, different sizes. And this is what we see. We see that coaching leads to improved team functioning, especially now with ICF releasing team coaching competencies and working on a team coaching micro-credential. Engagement, we talked about it, productivity, employee relations. Faster leadership development, that's another fascinating statistic, because depending on the market, of course, but if we were talking about Western Europe or North American market, we know that there is such a great number of baby boomers and retirees leaving the marketplace. So what it means is that individuals are stepping into leadership positions earlier in their professional career. And by leadership position, we mean having responsibility for people management. And then one of the research with HCI suggested that there is a gap of about 5 years between that individual is stepping into that position and before they are actually prepared and trained to be a leader of people. So as you can see, coaching again is speaking into providing value that then translates into a more productive and more prepared workforce. We can't say enough about employee well-being and the fact that now when we work in a hybrid situation or still, primarily working from home or remote, that creates a very different dynamic for majority of people and how they relate and how they really can create the relationships and community with each other that is operating very, very differently. And again, increased emotional intelligence for employees. We know that emotional intelligence often translates into much better relationship and functioning of the teams. So this is yet another very important function and impact of coaching. When coaching first started, many organizations in particular were considering it more of a remedial function or a function reserved only to the C-suite, very top level individuals. Now coaching is considered, as we say, merit of a badge of merit. That meaning the organization is investing in an individual and want them to succeed, want them to really move up and be future leaders of the organizations. We already talked about regular training, change management and consulting. This is also what coaching can accelerate. And, especially now, there is nothing more important than having good people, right? So retaining, recruiting, maintaining, this is so important. And organizations with strong coaching cultures do pay attention, not only to C-suite, but really offering coaching to the entire organization throughout the enterprise. So really, what do we mean when we talk about coaching culture? What are the steps if any organization wanted to build coaching culture? What does it mean in practice? What I'm sharing with you right now is actually the results of the most recent Global Coaching Awareness Study. That study was released in January of 2022, so it's really fresh. It's fresh off the press. So some of the elements of building strong coaching culture is to make sure that coaching is not, as we said, nice to have, but it is. It is a core strategic element of talent and leadership development. That we know that influencer in the organization know what it means. They experience that, they can speak to it, and they certainly can support it when it comes to talk about the budgets, right? We did talk already about managers and leaders using coaching skills. That's the fastest growing part of the professional coach to manager and leader using coaching skills. I want to stop for a second here and talk about the difference between manager and leader using coaching skills and sometimes being a coach. It is a huge difference. And ICF really took time to make sure that we are distinguishing those two modalities. When you coach, when you are indeed a coach in any given circumstance, then the hierarchy of being a manager to somebody else doesn't matter. In many cases, in fact, ICF recommends that the leaders and managers do not coach in the pure sense of the word. They are direct reports, because you as a leader or a manager, those people have a say in promotion, in compensation adjustments, all this good stuff. And at the end, the manager, their job is to be a leader, is to be a manager and make a decision sometimes, rather than a coach who is leading a person to that decision. So please do not mistake the two as being the same, because they are not. So we also know that Ethics and standards, we already touched a little bit on ethics, but the standards are so important. Coaching is still unregulated profession, so having a proof of the fact that the individual has been trained to deliver a service is really tremendous. We already said that to be ICF member, one has to be trained, and you can see already here that 80% of respondents whose coach had a credential, they were very or somewhat satisfied with their coaching experience, and it was a higher number than for those who worked with individuals who did not happen to have a credential. So, we're talking about strong coaching cultures, and the question was like, okay, tell me what it takes. Tell me how we can measure strong coaching culture. The 6 elements that you see on this slide are actually something that we developed with a Human Capital Institute, and it evolved from its original form to this. The 6 elements of strong coaching culture are as follows. Employee values coaching. Senior executives value it. So we have this executive sponsor for coaching engagement. Managers and leaders are being trained in using coaching skills. As we said, coaching is not nice to have or add on. It is a part of a strategy, organizational strategy, and frankly, that translates into having a dedicated budget line for coaching. Something we touch upon again a little bit, but it's so important. Coaching is not reserved just for C-suite. Coaching is not reserved just for high potentials or maybe onboarding new leaders. Coaching is offered as opportunity to all individuals within the organization. They don't necessarily have to take it, but at least it is offered to them. And again, especially in larger organizations, the use of internal coaches and building internal coaches practices, utilizing external coaches, and also training individuals, leaders and managers in coaching skills is very important. That 6 element brings something even deeper. And it is that no matter, we talk about standards, no matter if this is an external coach, internal coach, or manager or leader using coaching skills, it is important those individuals are trained, are best prepared to offer their service. It must have been 6-7 years ago that our good colleagues and friends at the conference board did the research about executive coaching, and at that point they asked internal coaches if they were trained. The response overwhelmingly was yes, we have been trained. The next question was, and who trained you, or where did you receive your training? The response, again, I want to say about 80% or more said, I've been trained by my supervisor. So the next question came, and is your supervisor trained as a coach? Well, overwhelmingly, the answer was no. I'm very happy to say that since then, the circumstances changed dramatically, and majority of coaches, internals, externals, and managers and leaders using coaching skills are receiving proper coach training, of course, the best coming from ICF, but also from other providers of coach training. And yet, you probably know that there is still a conversation about one other super important factor in establishing strong coaching cultures, and it is to measure its impact. Several slides before, we told you about some of the research studies saying what is the impact, but every organization is different. Every organization has their goals being defined a little bit differently, and therefore there is a big importance in measuring the impact of coaching. The return on investment is, of course, the economic term that it's pretty common and known to many. But working before with PricewaterhouseCoopers, ICF also developed a different scale, and it is called return on expectation. Why expectation? Why return on expectation? As you know, so many coaching engagements are not focusing on bottom line or financial impact directly, but they are looking into better communication, better teamwork, greater self-esteem, greater confidence, right? So it is more appropriate to measure the expectation of the coaching engagement afterwards rather than just the typical ROI. And this is exactly what we started seeing, right? That return on expectation before and after the engagement, for the person being coached, for the person who is a leader for a team, for the organization itself, right? It can be shown in a performance appraisals, feedback, and the satisfaction scores, of course. Absentee rates, this is something very amazing, especially during the pandemic times, that so many people did take time off, and rightfully so. And yet, with the presence of coaching, the absenteeism rates went down, and therefore the payments to the insurance companies went down for the organization dramatically, which, as you can imagine, almost immediately translated into the financial impact for the organization. So I just briefly talked about it, why people engage in coaching. And this particular slide, this is again from our most recent global coaching awareness study. So there were individuals. We had responses from 30 plus countries. We have over 30,000 responses, very global survey offered in 17 languages. So as you can see, it is pretty representative sample of why people engage in coaching, and this is not changing really throughout the years. It's pretty similar in organizations and for individual clients. I wanted to share with you really quickly just one case study, really, and it is the winner of our International Prism Award. As you know, ICF awards Prism to the organizations that are applying rigorous professional standards, that coaching addresses key strategic goals. It is building coaching culture, and they also do have the objective, measurable ways of seeing the impact of coaching within. Some people, when we talk about coaching in organizations, may think and feel that coaching is only for large organizations. But this is not what we see, even just within Prism Awards, and even more so anecdotally. We have the winners and honorable mentions and the applicants from healthcare clinics, government organizations, small family-owned businesses, not-for-profit organizations, and universities. So as you can see, it actually talks about the phenomenal ability of offering coaching to a variety of enterprises, no matter where they sit, again, in a Fortune, whatever it might be, ranking. The one I wanted to talk to you about is EY. And EY was our 2017 International Prism Award honorable mention. And the reason that I wanted to talk about them rather than some other organization is that EY, of course, established their coaching culture early on, and it was for the benefit of the organization. And fairly soon in their journey, they realized that the success of the organization is totally dependent on the success of the people that work in that organization. So they decided that coaching needs to be available for what they call defining moments. And the defining moment may be in a professional life. It could be a transition, it could be a promotion, it could be a move to a different department, but also in personal life. They notice that when a person is distracted, for lack of a better term, because they are dealing with something else outside of their work environment, that means that they are not paying their full attention to their work, and therefore may be not as effective team member, or may not be as productive as before. So they said, okay, you have access to coaching for whatever it might be. Maybe becoming a first-time parent, maybe for the first time having to deal with giving care to some elderly employee. Maybe you are experiencing some health issues that are possibly impacting your performance. So as you can see, as of September 2016, more than 700 employees, 25% men, taken advantage of coaching for new parents, right? And then we're talking also about the work situation. So promotions, transitions, and coaching was so phenomenally supportive, according to them, in them navigating their new life and navigating their expectations of them for themselves, and expectations coming from their organizations. So, you can find all the details about this particular honorable mention on our website. When you go to awards and Prism, you can see a great case studies about different organizations that were recognized by ICF, and there are just heartwarming stories altogether. One that I'm gonna mention also is that during the pandemic, there is a very famous clinic in the United States, Cleveland Clinic, particularly known for their cardiological services. They were the winner of the Prism Award 2 years ago. They said, speaking of ROI, that they saved about $85 million because they offered coaching to their physicians and their nurses, and they reduced the turnover of people, not leaving the clinic but staying there. And that was such a tremendous impact on the ability of Cleveland Clinic to develop their workforce and to truly be true to their mission and vision, and what they offer to their patients. So with that, I think that would be a good place for questions, if you have any. As I said, many organizations, a lot of what I was talking about, you can definitely see on our website, so coachingfederation.org. Isabel can probably help you find a lot of this information. I'm not necessarily offering Isabel's to do that, but please, I'll be very happy to answer any questions. I see that the chat box is having some. I didn't have a chance to look at it as I was doing the presentation, but Isabel or Lisa, please let me know if there is any questions you want me to answer.
Well, we've shared all the links, Magda, from the different researchers, from HCI, from the Global Coaching Awareness Study, also from the Prism Award and the Cleveland Clinic case study. So we are happy now to welcome any questions you may have. So if you want to either jump in and unmute yourself and ask your question live, either just write it down in the chat. I think we can work with both solutions.
Awesome.
The floor is yours. Anyone willing to ask any questions?
Oh, that's the first ICF event that we don't have questions. Come on, people.
Well, your presentation was crystal clear, Magda. Well, thank you so much. Oh, here we are. Tolu, thank you so much. What rise do we see in the amount of internal coaches in organization?
Yeah, this is a very good question. We do see more and more organizations at least investigating the ability to build their internal coaching presence. And it happens in at least one of two ways. One is that there could be an internal coaches that are full-time coaches. EY, for that matter, do have some that are internal coaches and are full-time coaches, while more common solution would be that individuals that do have some other functions within the organizations also do have about 30%, between 20 and 30% of their time devoted to coaching. Many organizations are looking into ensuring that those individuals are well trained, and especially larger groups create coach training programs to be offered for their internal coaches. Last year's winner of Prism Award was Tata Consultancy Services, and they developed the program exactly for their internals to be trained. This program is being accredited by ICF, so that's another way, if you will, to build internal coaching processes. From our own experience, we see that growing number of ICF members do respond that they are internal coaches, or internal and external at the same time. This percentage is at about 15% right now, and it's been seriously short couple of years that it grew from single digits.
Thank you, Magda. We have many questions coming up now. Yay. So let's start with Kabab. Question: what is the pivotal role of coaching in talent development? Pivotal, I'm not sure how to pronounce. Pivotal role.
We know, and again, this is not about coaching, right? But we know that when people find the match, when they find something that they are passionate about, when they find something that they have special talent for, they devote their entire attention into that job. So coaching can help dramatically in career development by allowing a person to explore what is truly the path for them, and what could enable them to follow that path. Also, I think having coaching function within the HR departments has a very strategic position of looking into what is the workforce of the future looking like, what's needed for the enterprise to be successful, and therefore what is the need for recruitment. So that's one part might be defined as developing existing talent, and other areas to seeking the talent that there may be some need or gaps within the organization.
Thank you, Magda. Another question. What would you suggest where and how to start? On what you need to pay attention, and how long does it take to see positive results? Actually, many questions in just
right. Again, I would so invite you to see some of the case studies, because nothing tells the story as a success of another organization. I happen to think that having a support of an executive within the organization is really, really important. So perhaps if that person did not have an opportunity to work with the coach, maybe that's the first step. Coach them a little bit. But also making sure that coaching is being thought about as a strategic solution, rather than yet another application one-off, but rather something that is there to stay. And also very important, and several successful organizations with the Prism Award did that, and it is to have a measurement rubric from the very beginning. So you can tell, rather than anecdotally, yes, it's working, to have solid numbers that are important, or indications that are important to your organization, showing that coaching is truly making a big difference, and a positive one.
Thank you, Magda. We also have a question from Facebook. Correlating performances, improvements, and results with coaching is very difficult. How to make coaching more measurable? Any research on this area?
Yes, we did some research. ICF did some research with PricewaterhouseCoopers, and it is still somewhat subjective, but when you specifically work on a performance improvement, you can evaluate the pre and post, right, and even midterm, and then the formula asks, and how much of it, what percentage of this improvement would you associate to different modalities that could have been offered to an individual. And this is how one can actually see if there is a bigger correlation with performance improvement. Now, as we said, coaching nowadays is not used for performance improvement alone. In fact, it's more used for talent development than performance improvement. But still, it is possible to apply this formula to measure the impact. Again, I would invite you to go to ICF website. On our research portal. Just plug ROI or ROE into the search function, and you will see a lot of very interesting articles around that particular correlation as well.
Thank you, Magda. There's also a question coming from Tolu. Is what data is available around what a coach is worth in an organization, like hourly rate, salary, etc.?
That is the most difficult question ever. And it is because if this is the internal conversation, then again, it is proprietary information of that organization. Even for external coaches, as you know, we do a research with PricewaterhouseCoopers. We are offering the averages, and also regional and country averages, but quite frankly, it depends. The answer is it depends. It depends on the market, it depends on the organization, it depends on the maturity of the organization, it depends on the qualifications of a coach. So frankly, there are very many facets of that conversation. One thing that I can see with all conviction on behalf of ICF is that everything we do is to make coaching a viable profession, and therefore that coaching is providing a living to those who choose to be professional coaches.
Thank you so much, Magda. I'm actually also, Lisa just shared the research portal link on the chat, and there is also a great article from the blog that is measuring and communicating ROI in executive coaching. So we're just sharing the links as we speak. I don't have any questions anymore. Lisa, do you have any more questions from Facebook?
No, we're good from Facebook.
Well, cool. So, I mean, we still have time for one or two more questions, or we can also wrap up the session and free 10 minutes of your time. So, to you to decide. Well, if nothing happens anymore, I really want to thank you all for being with us today, and really a big thank you, Magda, to give us so much of your time today to do that presentation. We just want to make sure that you are aware that we are celebrating ICW International Coaching Week all week long. We just started today. We have more than 1,000 events lined up in 28 languages. The majority of them are free of charge, so feel free to sign up or feel free to contribute. If you're an ICF member or a chapter leader, you still have opportunity to contribute as well and help us highlight the profession worldwide. Here is the link in the chat for the events platform. We look forward to meet you. This session has been recorded and will be uploaded on the ICF Professional Coaches YouTube channel, as well as on the event. So it's accessible through your My account as well in a couple of days from now. Thank you so much for being with us. Happy International Coaching Week to all of you, wherever you are in the world, and see you very soon. And thank you, Facebook viewers, as well. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Isabel. Thanks, Lisa.